The night was silent in the lonely space outpost. Daniel Cross sat inside his small station on the edge of the galaxy. He was a human engineer, sent here to repair old machines and keep the outpost alive. Most days were quiet. Only the sound of engines humming and metal creaking filled his ears. But tonight something different happened, something that would change his life forever. Daniel was checking a control panel when he heard a sound outside. At first he thought it was the wind, but the noise grew louder. It was not wind, it was crying, soft and broken, echoing through the cold night. No one should be here. No one lived on this barren world. His hands froze. His heart began to beat faster. Who could be crying out there? In the darkness, he picked up his scanner and looked through the dusty window. The scanner beeped once, showing a faint life sign not far from the station. Daniel frowned. He was alone on this mission. No supply ships were due for weeks. Slowly he opened the airlock. The cold air rushed in, sharp and heavy. The sound was clear now, a child's sobbing voice, weak and desperate. Daniel followed the sound with careful steps. The ground under his boots was rough and broken. The stars above looked sharp like glass, and the air smelled like metal and dust. Then he saw it, a small figure crouched near a rock, shaking. The figure was no ordinary child. Its skin glowed faintly blue. Its eyes were large and filled with tears. Its arms were thin, its face a mix of human softness and alien strangeness. Daniel froze, his breath caught in his throat. The child lifted its face and whispered, "Please fix my mom, she won't stop shaking." Daniel's heart jumped. The words were clear English, the voice was trembling but real. He felt a shiver down his spine. The child crawled closer, still crying. Its hands clutched at his suit as if he was the last hope. Daniel Key knelt down, his mind racing. How could an alien child know human language? How did it find him here? He wanted to pull away, but the fear and sadness in those eyes stopped him. "Who are you?" Daniel asked, his voice low. The child shook its head, sobbing harder. No time, please come. She is dying, you must help. Only you can help." Daniel felt the weight of those words. He thought maybe it was a trick, maybe a trap set by something waiting in the shadows. But the tears looked real, the fear looked real. The child was desperate, and desperation was hard to fake. Daniel followed as the child pulled his hand. They walked across the dark rocks toward a cave that glowed faintly with strange light. Every step Daniel took, his mind filled with questions. Why did the child come to him? What sickness was making the mother shake? Why only a human could help? The air grew heavier as they neared the cave. The sound of a low hum filled the space, vibrating through the stone. Daniel felt his stomach twist, fear mixed with curiosity. Inside the cave, shadows danced across the walls. The child led him deeper, its small, glowing body lighting the way. Daniel's footsteps echoed. His scanner flickered, showing unstable readings. At last they reached a large chamber. There, lying against the stone floor, was the mother. She was tall, her body trembling violently, her skin glowing with lines of light. Her breath came in harsh gasps, her arms flailed as if fighting something invisible. The ground shook softly each time her body convulsed. Daniel stopped in shock. He had seen many machines break down, but never a living being like this. The alien mother looked powerful and fragile at the same time. The child knelt beside her, tears streaming down its face. "Please, she won't stop shaking. You must fix her. You are the only one who can." The plea echoed in Daniel's mind. The word S pressed against his heart, making him feel both helpless and needed. He wanted to run. Every instinct told him this was dangerous, but he also saw the small child's hope. He remembered his own daughter back on Earth, waiting for him. He imagined her crying the same way, begging for help. That thought held him in place. Daniel knelt closer, studying the alien mother. Her body glowed with strange patterns like circuits alive under her skin. The shaking grew worse. Her breath sounded like a broken machine. Daniel realized this was no normal sickness. Something unnatural was inside her, something beyond human knowledge. And yet the child believed only he, a human, could fix it. His heart pounded as he stared at the trembling figure. Fear and curiosity mixed until he felt trapped. He was not just an engineer now. He was the lifeline, the last hope. And he knew, whatever this was, it was only the beginning. Daniel stood frozen in the glowing cave. The alien mother lay on the ground, her body jerking as if electricity moved inside her veins. Her skin glowed with strange blue lines that pulsed like living wires. Every time she shook, the walls of the cave trembled, dust falling from the ceiling like tiny stars. Daniel felt his breath grow shallow, fear gripping his chest. He had seen machines break down, but never a living body that looked like it was both alive and mechanical at the same time. The child knelt beside the mother, holding her trembling hand. "Please help her," the child begged, voice breaking with sobs. Daniel hesitated, his mind filled with questions. Why did they come to him? What could a simple human engineer do in a place like this? The mother's eyes flickered open for a moment, glowing bright like twin suns. She whispered something in a language Daniel could not understand. The words echoed deep in the cave like an ancient song. Then her body shook again, harder this time, sending a wave of energy across the stone floor. Daniel staggered back, his scanner in his hand buzzing with wild signals. The screen showed strange readings, not just biology, not just machinery, but something fused together. Her body was not only sick, it was unstable, like she could collapse or explode at any second. The child cried louder, clutching at Daniel's arm. "You are human. You can fix her. Only humans can stop the shaking." Daniel's eyes widened, his throat dry. What did that mean? Why would humans be able to fix this? He had no answer, but the desperation in the child's eyes kept him from leaving. He crouched beside the mother, slowly reaching out with trembling fingers. Her skin felt hot, almost burning, and under the glow he felt movement, not like a heartbeat, but like millions of tiny machines crawling beneath the surface. Daniel pulled his hand back quickly, shaking it as if the heat had bitten him. His chest tightened, the truth slowly forming in his mind. This was not an illness, it was some kind of infection, a swarm of living machines trying to take control of her body. The mother gasped, her glowing veins pulsing faster. Her arms struck the stone floor, making cracks spread like spider webs. The child screamed, hugging her tightly as if the shaking would tear her apart. Daniel's fear deepened, but his heart ached at the sight of the small child. The alien boy, or maybe girl, was so helpless, so full of hope, he could not walk away, even if he wanted to. Daniel thought quickly. Reaching into his tool belt, he pulled out a stabilizer pad, a device used to calm unstable machines when they overloaded. It was meant for engines and circuits, not for living bodies, but he had no other choice. He pressed the pad against the mother's chest, whispering a prayer under his breath. The device hummed, sending a wave of soft energy into her. For a brief moment, the violent shaking slowed, her body relay. Ching just enough for her eyes to flicker open again. Daniel exhaled, shocked it even worked. The child's eyes lit up with hope. "You see, you can help. I knew it," the child said, gripping his arm tightly. Daniel swallowed hard, sweat dripping down his face, but the pad began to spark, unable to handle the strange mix of energy inside her. The mother's shaking returned, even stronger, the cave trembling like a living heart. Daniel yanked the device back. The screen burned out. He realized the truth. He could slow the sickness for moments, but not stop it completely. The child looked at him with wide eyes, pleading, "Please, you must save her. If she dies, the sickness will spread. It will take all of us." Daniel froze, his stomach twisting. The sickness was more than just her body, more than just one alien. It was a threat, maybe even a weapon. He thought about Earth, about what would happen if this infection ever reached his home. The shaking of one alien mother could become the shaking of an entire world. The mother cried out, her voice echoing like thunder. Her glowing veins spread brighter, lighting up the chamber like fire. For one moment, Daniel thought he saw shapes moving inside her skin. Tiny silver threads, twisting, crawling, fighting against her flesh. The sight made his stomach turn. He stepped back, his mind screaming at him to run, but the child's small hands held him in place, grounding him with desperate trust. "Why me?" Daniel whispered, his voice trembling. The child wiped its tears and said, "Because you are human, and humans are the lifeline." The words cut deep, like a prophecy spoken long ago. Daniel did not understand, but he knew one thing. He was now caught in something far greater than a broken machine. He was standing between life and death, between silence and destruction. And the fate of this alien family, maybe even the galaxy, was starting to rest on his shoulders. He took a deep breath, his heart pounding. He looked at the sea, Hild, then at the trembling mother. If he walked away, he would be haunted forever. If he stayed, he might lose his life. But Daniel Cross had always been the kind of man who fixed things. Machines, engines, stations, it did not matter. And now for the first time, he was asked to fix something that was alive. Something that was more than alive. Something that might change the universe forever. The cave was heavy with silence after the last violent tremor. Daniel stood over the alien mother, sweat dripping from his forehead, his hands shaking. The stabilizer device in his grip was broken, sparks still dancing along its edge. The alien child held its mother tightly, whispering words in both alien sounds and broken human language. Daniel's mind raced. He was only an engineer, not a doctor, not a savior, yet somehow this strange child believed he could save her. He looked down again, scanning the mother's glowing body. The light under her skin was not natural. It pulsed like electricity. Sometimes it ran in smooth lines, but then it would spark wildly, almost tearing her apart. Daniel realized it was not only sickness, it was something inside her, something alive, something growing. He crouched lower, holding his scanner over her chest. The readings exploded across the screen. Nanotech signatures, thousands, no millions of microscopic machines crawling through her blood. His throat went dry, his mind whispering the truth. She was not just sick, she was infected. The child noticed his expression and cried harder. "You see it, don't you? You see the machines," the child whispered. Daniel's head snapped up, his eyes narrowing. "How do you know what they are?" he asked, his voice tight. The child shook its head. She touched the dark star. It poisoned her. It put the machines inside her. Daniel's stomach turned. He had heard rumors of the dark star, a collapsed sun at T. The edge of the system. Explorers said strange energies flowed there, twisting time and matter, but no one said it could plant machines into living flesh. The mother groaned, her body arching off the ground, her glowing veins spread across her chest like fire racing through wood. Daniel felt the ground shake beneath him as dust rained from the ceiling. He grabbed the child and pulled it back as stones cracked near the edge of the chamber. The child screamed for its mother, clawing at Daniel's arm to let go. Daniel held tight, his instincts fighting his fear. If this infection spread beyond her body, the entire cave, maybe even the entire planet, could be lost. He studied the scanner again, forcing his mind to focus. The nanotech was rewriting her cells, not only damaging her, but trying to change her into something else, something unrecognizable. And worse, the machines were multiplying. If she died here, her body could release the swarm into the air, into the soil, into everything. Daniel's jaw clenched. He realized he was not only trying to save her life, he was trying to stop a disaster. The child looked at him with wide, desperate eyes. "You must stop it. Please. Only humans can." Daniel shook his head, confused and angry. "Why me? Why humans? What do we have to do with this?" he demanded. The child's lips trembled, but no answer came. It only pressed its forehead against Daniel's arm, whispering, "You are the lifeline. You were made for this." Daniel's breath caught, his pulse racing. What did that mean? How could humanity be tied to alien sickness, to machines inside blood? The thought clawed at his mind, but the mother's screams tore him back to the moment. Her shaking was worse now, her chest rising and falling like an engine about to explode. The nanotech infection was reaching its limit. Daniel had minutes, maybe less. He dropped his broken stabilizer and dug into his pack. He pulled out a pulse regulator, a tool meant to reset dead engines. It was risky. It sent a shockwave of energy that could kill or he. Machines could handle it, but a living body might not. Still, Daniel knew he had no choice. He placed the regulator against her chest, whispering, "Hold on, just hold on." The device whined, charging, light gathering in its core. The child squeezed Daniel's arm, watching with tear-filled eyes. Daniel pressed the trigger, and a wave of blue energy blasted through the mother's body. She screamed, her glowing veins flashing like lightning. Her body lifted off the ground, every muscle seizing. Daniel's own chest hurt just watching, his hands trembling as he held the device in place. Then, for a brief second, silence. The mother collapsed back to the stone floor. Her shaking slowed, her breath steadier. The child gasped with hope, hugging her tightly. Daniel exhaled, relief washing over him, but then his scanner beeped again, sharp and rapid. His eyes widened. The infection was not gone. It was adapting. The nanotech was rewriting itself to resist his energy pulse. It was learning. Daniel's heart sank. He knew what that meant. Every tool he used would only work once. The machines would adapt, would grow stronger, until nothing could stop them. The child noticed his face pale and whispered, "What's wrong? Did you fix her?" Daniel shook his head slowly, his voice low and heavy. "No, I slowed it down, but it's changing. It's preparing for something worse." The mother groaned again, her glowing veins now darker, pulsing like storm clouds. Daniel stepped back, fear gnawing at him. He realized the infection was not only inside her, it was spreading into the ground. Small cracks in the stone glowed faintly with the same blue light. His stomach twisted as he imagined the swarm spreading through the planet. If it reached the atmosphere, if it reached the stars, no one would be safe. He looked at the child, whose eyes burned with both hope and fear. Daniel whispered to him, "Elf, this is no sickness, this is a weapon." And deep down he knew the truth. He was not only fighting for one alien mother. He was standing on the edge of something that could destroy entire worlds. Something born from the dark star. Something ancient and merciless. The secret infection had already begun. The cave air felt heavy, carrying the smell of burning stone and electric sparks. Daniel stood frozen, staring at the alien mother as her body twisted with violent shudders. The infection inside her was alive, adapting, rewriting itself like a living storm. The child clung to Daniel's arm, eyes wide with fear but still shining with desperate hope. "You can save her," the child whispered. "Humans can do what no one else can." Daniel's chest tightened. He had fixed broken machines, collapsed engines, even reactors on the verge of exploding. But this was no machine. This was a living being, part alien, part something unknown. Yet the child's words would not leave his mind. Humans are the lifeline. What did that mean? And why did this child believe it so strongly? He knelt down, pulling open his supply case. His tools rattled, scanners blinking weakly from the energy overloads earlier. He picked up a med-seal patch, normally used to stabilize human wounds. He pressed it against the mother's glowing skin, hoping it would calm her shaking. The patch lit up, its green light scanning her body. For a moment, her breathing steadied, her glow dimmed, but then the patch burned out. The nanotech inside her had swallowed it, devoured it like food. Daniel cursed under his breath, tossing the useless tool aside. The child's small hands grabbed his wrist, eyes pleading. "Don't stop, please, try again." Daniel's mind raced. He had only a few tools left, none meant for this. But he remembered something from his training years ago. Human cells had natural defenses, even against artificial systems. It was the reason humans survived infections in space that other species could not. Maybe, just maybe, the key. I was not in his tools, but in him. He stared at the trembling mother, her veins glowing brighter with each convulsion. Her cries echoed through the cave, deep and broken. Daniel felt his heartache, not just from fear, but from pity. She was suffering, drowning in a sea of machines tearing her apart from the inside, and the child's face reminded him of his daughter back on Earth. He could not let this child watch their mother die, not if there was a chance, no matter how small. He pulled out a neural link cable from his pack. It was meant for connecting human thoughts to machines, to guide repairs by syncing brain patterns with artificial systems. It was dangerous, meant only for short bursts. But Daniel had a wild idea. If the infection was part machine, maybe his human mind could disrupt it. Maybe his nervous system could confuse the nanotech, even slow it down. The child watched as Daniel prepared the cable. "What are you doing?" the child asked softly, fear in their voice. Daniel gave a small, strained smile. "Taking a risk," he whispered. He connected one end of the cable to his suit's port. The other he placed against the alien mother's chest, right over the pulsing glow. The moment he activated it, pain shot through his body. His vision blurred, his nerves burned like fire. Images flooded his mind, not his own, but hers. He saw flashes of alien cities under silver skies, worlds filled with strange towers of light. Then shadows, the dark star, black energy swirling like a storm. And inside it, the machines spreading like a plague. Daniel cried out, his body shaking, but he held on. The mother's body jerked once, then steadied. Her glowing veins dimmed for the first time since he arrived. The child gasped, hope filling their eyes. "It's working. You're helping her." Daniel grit his teeth, sweat pouring down his face. He felt the nanotech pressing against his mind, trying to invade. But his human body fought back, resisting in ways no alien system could. For every surge of pain, he felt the machines stumble, confused, slowed. He realized the truth. Humans were resistant, maybe even poisonous to this infection. Their biology was too messy, too unpredictable for the machines to control, and that chaos made them the cure. Daniel's chest heaved as he pulled the cable free, collapsing against the stone floor. The connection broke and his vision cleared. The mother still trembled, but less violently now, her breathing steadier, her eyes opening halfway. She whispered weakly, her voice trembling but filled with awe. "Human." The child hugged Daniel tightly, tears streaming down its glowing cheeks. "You see, I told you, you are the lifeline." Daniel closed his eyes, his body aching, his nerves screaming, but deep inside, a cold realization spread. This was no accident, no coincidence. Humans were tied to this infection, perhaps created as the counter to it, and if the infection spread across the galaxy, then humanity's role was larger than anyone ever knew. He looked at the mother, still shaking but alive, then at the child, whose hope burned brighter than the glow of the cave. He wanted to tell them everything would be fine, but he knew this was only a pause, a small victory in a larger war. The infection had tasted him, learned from him, and it would not stop here. It would adapt again. The fight was only beginning. Daniel leaned against the wall, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. He whispered to himself, almost too quietly to hear, "I'm not just fixing her, I'm fighting the future." The words echoed inside his mind like a warning. The human lifeline was real, and now the burden rested on him. A simple engineer standing between life and extinction. The cave was quieter now, but the silence was heavy. The alien mother still trembled on the stone floor, though her breathing was slower. The child sat close to her, holding her hand, whispering soft words. Daniel leaned against the wall, exhausted, his body sore from the neural link. Sweat ran down his face, his muscles twitched as if the machines had left sparks inside him. But his mind refused to rest. Too many questions clawed at him. Why had his human body slowed the infection? Why had the child spoken of humans as lifelines? Why did the mother call him human, as if the word carried deeper meaning? He needed answers, and he needed them now. Daniel pushed himself up, his legs weak but steady enough. He walked toward the child, who looked up with glowing eyes. "Tell me the truth," Daniel said, his voice low and firm. "Why me? Why humans? What is this infection really?" The child looked away, fear flashing across its small face, but Daniel reached down, gripping its shoulders gently. "You asked me to save her. Now you must tell me why. I need to know what I am fighting." The child's lips trembled, its gaze falling to the trembling mother. For a moment, silence filled the chamber, only the sound of the mother's broken breathing echoing. Finally, the child spoke, its voice soft but clear. "A long time ago, before I was born, before even my mother, our people touched the dark star." Daniel felt a shiver crawl up his spine at those words. The child continued. "They thought it was power, endless power. They wanted to control it, but the star was cursed. It gave them the machines." Daniel frowned, kneeling lower. "The infection," he whispered. The child nodded, glowing tears slipping down its cheeks. "Yes, the nanotech came from the star. It spreads, it eats everything, it learns, it never dies." Daniel's chest tightened. He already knew how dangerous it was, but hearing it confirmed made his stomach twist. The child's voice cracked as it continued. "Our people tried to fight it. They built weapons, shields, medicines, but nothing worked. The machines always grew stronger." Daniel leaned closer. "Then why humans? Why me?" The child's eyes flickered with both fear and awe. "Because it was our people who made humans." Daniel froze, the words cutting into him like ice. He shook his head, unable to believe it. "What are you saying?" the child whispered. "Humans are not just from Earth. You were shaped long ago, mixed with us, made to resist the machines, made to be the lifeline." Daniel's mind reeled. He felt the ground tilt beneath him. Every part of him wanted to deny it. But deep inside, something clicked. It explained why his body could resist, why the infection slowed when he connected. It explained why the child looked half human, half alien. Their people had experimented with humanity long before history remembered. The thought shook him to the core. All his life he thought humans were alone, fragile, small, but now he was hearing they were designed, built to fight something cosmic. He stumbled back, running a hand through his damp hair. "No," he muttered. "That's impossible. We came from Earth, we evolved there, The child shook its head, cutting him off. "You were guided. Your blood carries what ours does not. Your chaos is what saves you. Your chaos is what stops the machines." Daniel's chest heaved, his heart racing like a drum. The truth was too big, too heavy, yet it rang with a strange sense of reality. The mother groaned again, her glowing body trembling harder. The cave rumbled, dust falling like rain. Daniel rushed forward, scanning her quickly. The infection was spreading again, faster this time. The child screamed, hugging her tightly. "She's slipping, please don't let her go." Daniel clenched his fists, his mind spinning. The truth was clear now. If humans were lifelines, then he was her only chance. He dropped to his knees, pulling the neural cable back out. His body still burned from the last attempt, but he had no choice. The child grabbed his arm, fear in its eyes. "You'll die if you do it again." Daniel looked down at the small alien, his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. "If I don't, she dies, and maybe the whole galaxy with her." He pressed the cable to his chest and the mother's glowing veins. Pain surged through him instantly, his body arching as fire raced through his nerves. Visions filled his head again. Stars collapsing, ships torn apart by swarms of machines, entire planets drowned in glowing blue. He saw alien scientists mixing blood, human blood, with theirs, creating children, creating a future. And then he saw Earth, safe, far away, never told the truth. Daniel screamed, gripping the cable until his knuckles went white. The mother's shaking slowed again, her glow dimming, but Daniel's own skin began to spark, the infection brushing against him, tasting him. He fought it back, his human body resisting, chaotic, unbalanced, impossible to copy. He realized this was why humans were dangerous to the infection. The machines could not predict them, could not control their broken patterns, and that made them the cure. With a final cry, Daniel tore the cable free, collapsing to the ground. The mother lay still, her breathing shallow but steady, her glow faint but alive. The child sobbed with relief, hugging her tightly. Daniel lay gasping, his body trembling, his vision blurred, but inside his mind, the alien truth echoed. Humans were not just survivors, not just explorers. They were weapons created in secret to fight the infection born from the dark star. And now the infection was spreading again. Daniel realized humanity's role was no longer hidden. The fight that began ages ago was waking, and he, a simple engineer, was standing in the center of it. The cave trembled with quiet energy. The alien mother lay weak on the stone, her glowing veins fading but still alive. The child stayed beside her, holding her hand, tears falling but mixed with hope. Daniel sat near them, his body broken with exhaustion, his nerves burned from the second connection. Every breath felt heavy, every muscle screamed with pain, but the truth weighed more than his injuries. He now knew humans were not only survivors from Earth, they were shaped long ago, designed as lifelines against the infection from the dark star. The machines inside the mother feared his blood, feared his chaos. That was why he alone could slow them, but slowing them was not enough. The infection was adapting, preparing to spread. If it escaped this cave, it could reach the stars. Daniel closed his eyes, his mind racing. He thought of his daughter back on Earth, her smile, her laughter, her small hands clutching his when he left. He thought of the promise he made to return, but now he was caught between that promise and this impossible choice. To walk away meant safety for him, but death for many. To stay meant risking his life, maybe giving it up. The child's voice pulled him back, soft and desperate. Please, she cannot last. You must help again. Daniel shook his head weakly. I can't keep linking. The machines will find a way into me. If I do it again, I may not come back. The child looked at him with wide, glowing eyes. Then you will become like her, but you will still save her, won't you? Daniel's heart clenched at the innocence. Odd a question. Even in fear, the child's only thought was their mother. Daniel saw his own daughter's face again. He imagined her saying the same words if he were the one dying. The thought broke him. He looked down at the mother, her glow flickering like a dying star. Her chest rose and fell in shallow gasps, her hands twitching with each tremor. The machines were close to winning. If they spread, this planet would not survive. Maybe no planet would survive. Daniel realized there was only one way to end this. He had to give more than just his tools, more than just his blood. He had to give himself. His hands trembled as he reached for the neural cable again, but this time he did not plan to pull away. This time he would make a permanent bridge. His nervous system linked to hers, his chaos flooding the infection until it broke apart. The risk was clear. The machines might consume him, rewrite him, use him as their host, but if it gave her life, if it stopped the swarm, it would be worth it. The child watched as Daniel prepared the device. Their voice shook. What are you doing? Daniel gave a weak smile, though his heart felt heavy. Making a choice, he whispered. The child shook their head, tears falling faster. No, you will die. Please don't leave me. You are the only one who can help. Daniel placed a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. I'm helping. That's why I have to do this. He placed the cable against his chest and the mother's glowing veins. His body jerked as the connection roared to life, stronger than before. Pain flooded him, white fire racing through every nerve. The infection inside her screamed. He felt it as sharp claws scratching at his mind, but his human chaos surged against it, breaking its patterns, tearing its order apart. Visions filled his head. Galaxies drowning in machines, planets crumbling. But he also saw light, human hands reaching. Pulling others from the dark. It gave him strength to push harder. The mother gasped, her shaking slowing, her veins dimmed, no longer glowing violently. Her breath deepened, steadier, her chest rising with new strength. The child gasped, holding her tightly. She's better, you're saving her, they cried. Daniel gritted his teeth, his body shaking, but he knew the truth. He was giving his strength to her piece by piece, and the infection was not gone. It was shifting, searching for him. He screamed as his skin burned with faint blue lines. The machines were trying to move into him. His blood fought back, resisting, chaotic, unpredictable. The infection stumbled, breaking apart, confused by his human patterns. Daniel pushed harder, letting his pain become the weapon. Every nerve felt like fire, but he refused to stop. The mother's body finally stilled, her glow fading into calm, silver light. Her breathing strong, her eyes opening slowly. But Daniel's own body trembled uncontrollably. He tore the cable free, collapsing onto the stone floor. His vision blurred, his chest burning. Blue sparks flickered across his arms, fading and returning. He was not fully infected, not fully safe either. The child rushed to him, tears streaming. You saved her, but what about you? They cried. Daniel tried to speak, his voice weak. I gave her life, that's enough. The mother slowly sat up, her glowing eyes focusing on him. Her voice was soft, filled with both gratitude and sorrow. You risked yourself for me, for us. Why? Daniel coughed, his chest heaving. Because that's what humans do. We fix what we can, even if it breaks us. The words left his lips heavy with finality. The cave was quiet again. The infection broken, at least for now, but Daniel knew it was not over. The machines had tasted him, learned from him. They would not forget. His sacrifice had saved the mother, but it had also marked him. He was now part of the war, whether he want it or not, and as he looked at the child hugging their mother with relief, he wondered if he had enough strength left for what was still to come. The cave was filled with a strange stillness. The alien mother no longer shook violently. Her breathing was steady, her skin glowing faint silver instead of burning blue. The child clung to her, smiling through tears, whispering soft words of relief. But Daniel lay on the cold stone floor, his body trembling, his skin flickering with faint sparks of blue light. The infection had touched him, not fully, not enough to claim him, but enough to mark him. He struggled to sit up, every muscle heavy like lead. The child rushed to him, helping him lean against the wall. "You saved her," the child whispered. "But you are hurt. You are burning inside." Daniel forced a weak smile, his breath shallow. "I'm still here," he said, though deep inside he knew it was not fully true. Something had changed. Something inside him now carried the echo of the machines. The mother turned her head, her glowing eyes landing on him. She looked stronger, calmer, but there was fear in her gaze. She spoke softly, her voice carrying a strange weight. "The machines tasted you. They will never let you go. They will hunt you now." Daniel clenched his fists, his heart pounding. He knew she was right. The swarm was alive, learning, adapting. By linking with her, he had shown them what humanity was, and now they would come. The cave rumbled, a distant vibration moving through the stone. Daniel lifted his scanner, though his hands shook. The readings spiked, faint signatures of the nanotech spreading beyond the chamber. Not large yet, but enough to warn him. This was not over. The infection had pulled back, but it was waiting. It was testing, preparing for another strike. And next time it would not come for the mother. It would come for him, the child's foe. Ice trembled. What do we do now? Daniel stared at the glowing cracks along the cave walls. He knew they had no time, no weapons strong enough, no allies nearby. He was an engineer, not a soldier, not a hero, and yet somehow the responsibility rested on him. Humans were lifelines, chaos against order, but being the cure meant being the target. He thought of Earth again, of his daughter's small hands and bright smile. He thought of how far away she was, safe but blind to the truth. If the machines ever reached Earth, there would be no safety left. The infection would consume oceans, cities, even skies. Daniel's throat tightened, a cold truth pressing against his chest. He might never see his daughter again, but his fight now was not for one child. It was for all children, everywhere. The mother's voice broke the silence. "There is one path, but it will cost you." Daniel looked at her sharply, his body weak but his eyes determined. "What path?" he asked. She raised her trembling hand, energy glowing faintly at her fingertips. "You can bind the infection to yourself, draw it fully into your blood. You will carry it, and the swarm will follow you instead of us." The words hung heavy in the air. The child gasped, shaking their head. "No, he will die. He will become like them." Daniel's stomach twisted, but deep down he already knew. He was the lifeline, the only one who could carry the infection without breaking. If it spread freely, the galaxy would fall. But if it was bound to him, if he became its cage, there was still hope. It was not a victory, it was a sacrifice, and it was the final choice. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply. His body already trembled with faint blue sparks, proof the infection was inside him. He thought of his daughter one last time. He whispered her name in his mind, a promise carried across stars. Then he looked at the child and the mother. "I will carry it," he said, his voice firm despite his weakness. "I will give you time, but you must use it. You must find a way to end this forever." The mother reached out, her hand glowing brighter. She touched his chest, and the energy surged. Pain tore through Daniel as the infection inside him awakened. Blue veins spread across his arms, his chest, his neck. The child screamed, grabbing his arm, begging him to stop. But Daniel stayed still, his jaw clenched, his eyes locked on the mother. The machines poured into him, but instead of consuming him, they swirled, trapped, bound to his chaotic human core. He became the prison, the beacon, the lifeline. When the glow faded, Daniel collapsed to his knees. The infection was inside him now, heavy and alive. But the cave was silent, the mother no longer trembling, the cracks along the walls dimming. For now, the swarm was contained. The child hugged him tightly, sobbing. "You gave everything. You gave yourself. Why?" Daniel placed a weak hand on the child's head, his voice low and broken. "Because sometimes that's what it takes to keep others safe." The mother bowed her head, sorrow and gratitude mixing in her glowing eyes. You are more than human. You are the lifeline that was promised. Daniel gave a tired laugh, though his body shook with weakness. No, I'm just a man who fixes things, and this time I fixed what I could. The cave grew silent again, but the silence was not peace. Daniel knew the machines were inside him, whispering, waiting. He was the cage, but cages break, and when they did, the galaxy would need to be ready. The child held his arm tighter, whispering, "You saved her, but what about yourself?" Daniel closed his eyes, his breath unsteady. "I don't know," he whispered, "but maybe, just maybe, that's a choice for another day." The screen fades to black, the sound of faint mechanical whispers echoing in the silence. The final choice had been made, but the war was only beginning.